It's that time of the year, the time to be thankful for things like health, happiness, family, a Super Nintendo that hasn't had its plastic go yellow on you. You know, just the things that are really important. And if video games aren't important, then I don't know what is. I mean, sure, you've got that one aunt who's given you an entire lifetime of unconditional love and support, but if that's so unique and special, then what do you call this? Sonic the Hedgehog 2. All it's ever done is given me 30 plus years of classic side-scrolling platformer gameplay. It's never given me a crock pot though, but we'll just let that one slide. Now, typically when the topic of games people are thankful to own comes up, immediately people's brains go to things like games you bought for a few bucks that are now worth a whole ton of money. But what about this? A game I bought for just a few bucks that's now worth $25? Or maybe $25, I don't know, probably something like that. I haven't looked for a while. Now, there is more to the story than just the price discrepancy, and I think the story is a good way to illustrate that when it comes to games you're really thankful to own, it's not just all about the money. So with that in mind, quick little story for you. And if you've heard this story before, then bonus points to you because I have told it before, but it was a long time ago. So the way this story goes is that this is years and years ago. I'm just getting back into the NES again. And so naturally, one of the first things I do is watch the movie The Wizard. It's that one with Fred Savage and the California Kid. Yeah, that one. So I'm watching that movie and I'm having fun with it. You know, it's kind of a cheesy movie, whatever. I'm enjoying myself. It's an afternoon on the weekend. And I think, you know, I'm going to take a little time out and head over to the Goodwill. I also needed to buy some groceries or something, but I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stop by this Goodwill on the way. Who knows? Maybe I'll find some games. So I go there, and what do I find? The exact game that I was in the mood to play, and that was Contra. For some reason, I didn't have it yet. And so it was just so amazing that it was there, and it was only $3. It had a little price sticker on it for $3 that was right on the label. Ooh, I hate it when that happens, but luckily the sticker came right off, and the rest is history. I have played the bejesus out of this game ever since. Next up, we've got the Revenge of Shinobi for Sega Genesis, but not just any copy. It's a copy that smells like my first true love. No, not actually, but hey, wouldn't that be something? And maybe for some of you, you've got a story like that. Okay, so what makes this copy special is that for those of you who don't know, Revenge of Shinobi has different revisions of it, yeah. And essentially what happened was when the game first came out, it had all these cool guest appearances with like Batman and Spider-Man and Godzilla. I think those were three of them. I'd have to double check again. But anyways, it had all these cool guest appearances in the game. And then as time went along with various revisions, they would remove some of these characters out of there. So of course, naturally, you want to get that version that has all of those characters. I mean, maybe you don't care. I don't know. It's a great game either way. But I remember what I did was a seller had like posted a picture of the PCB or something. And based off of that, I was able to determine that it was probably one of the earlier revisions or an older version of the game. I can't remember the exact details. It was like very particular, but anyways, it was like $10, so I took a chance on it, got it home, played to the point in the game where you can verify that it indeed is the first revision that has all that stuff, and it has all those things, and that was amazing to be able to get it for a good price, because what some sellers will do, those dirty dog sellers that have identified it's the special version, they will jack up the price and advertise it as being one of those early editions of the game. So yeah, glad I didn't have to buy it from one of those sellers. Okay, and next up I've got another quick little story for you. So about 5 years ago one day, all of a sudden I had this thought. Wait a second, I'm an idiot. I don't own an original Game Boy. And the reason why I didn't own an original Game Boy at the time is because I have a very strict policy of not buying things that I'm not actually going to use. But on that particular day, I was in the mood to play some original Game Boy on the Dirty Dog original Game Boy with its green screen and all. It just felt very nostalgic to me because I have so many memories playing on this thing, and I can't describe it. You just gotta play on one of these things. It's just a different experience. Some would say it's a decidedly much worse experience playing on this, but I didn't care. I wanted to play on it, so I got one. But what makes it a cool story, at least a cool story to me, is that when I was shopping to buy one, I found a listing for one, and buried deep within the pictures, there was like 10 or 11 pictures of just the Game Boy from every different angle and with the battery compartment open and all that stuff. But in the very last picture, there was this pristine box. And the listing didn't say anything about it coming with the box, but I just figured, well, it must come with the box. So I waited and I bid on it. It was an auction, and I won it for a price that was basically what you could get just a loose one of these for. And it was this beautiful box. I've since gotten a case for it to keep it protected. And it's not in perfect condition, but it's pretty darn close. I mean, it's good enough for me. And I just thought it was so cool to be able to get this that way. I mean, tell me if you agree. I think it's a pretty cool box, and there are very few things in my collection where I will just have a box that I'm not using to actually store whatever it came within. So for example, I own GameCube cases for the games because I actually keep the games in them. I don't store my Game Boy in this, and so normally I wouldn't have a box for something if I'm just keeping a box around for the sake of it, but this is one of the rare exceptions. Next up, we've got Cuphead, and the reason why I'm thankful to own this game is because I'm thankful it's even possible for me to own this game. For those of you who don't know, for a long time, Cuphead was a digital-only game. You could not get a physical release of it. There actually was technically a physical release, but it was just a download code in a case, which is garbage. I don't want that. I want the actual game on a Switch cartridge, which is also, that's another thing. This game didn't exist on the Switch initially when it came out. It was just on Xbox. So having it on Switch was preferred for me. So not only is it now on Switch in a physical release, but it also has the DLC included. It's everything I've ever wanted. And this game is really up there for me of games that have come out in like the last 10 to 15 years or so. All right, now I know we've been talking about games, but how about a stool? Yeah, I got this thing during the launch of the Nintendo GameCube. Picked up a Nintendo GameCube on launch day, and my mom bought it for me for Christmas. Believe it or not, I was a preteen when the GameCube came out. And this is so special to me. I mean, this thing is battered at this point. You can see my butt has absolutely destroyed this thing from playing so many just hours and hours of GameCube sitting on it. But this is the only item from my childhood, I think, that I still have. Yeah, I was in one of those families where everything would get sold every 5 years to pay for the new stuff that came in, but this sneaky stool got away because it wasn't with the games. It was in a closet or something, and I went back to that closet and I found it, and I will cherish it forever. Probably shouldn't sit in it anymore because it's on its last legs. This is what it looks like if you're wondering. It says GameCube, get into the game, and boy did I. But that about does it for everything I wanted to share. However, I would of course love to hear anything you have to share. And one more thing before I go, in the spirit of being thankful and goodwill, because I know how thankful he would be to have it back, I've decided it's finally time to give Timmy back his game cartridge. If he can pull it from my cold dead grip.
He's the retro bird, yeah. And he's talking about video games. He's the retro